Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to share a little bit about what makes Notre Dame distinct. We're going to talk about kind of our Catholic mission, our research opportunities, undergraduate focus. We're going to highlight our local area of South Bend and Mishawaka and the greater Michiana area. We'll touch on affordability as well with some new initiatives and very exciting news that we have at Notre Dame. And we'll also finish off with some fun traditions today as well. So thank you for joining us. My name is Zach Klonzinski. I am a Senior Assistant Director here in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. I am a graduate of Notre Dame as well in 2017. I majored in history, originally from Belgrade, Montana. So that's a little bit about myself. I do have a lovely co-host today. Elizabeth, do you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I'm an Assistant Director in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. I am a 2021 graduate of the university. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but came to Notre Dame and really wanted to study all things liberal arts. And so I pursued the program of liberal studies, which is a mix of philosophy and theology and English. If you love to read, highly recommend. I also had a minor in the Kroc Institute for Peace Studies because as much as I love Aristotle, what I really love is understanding how Aristotle can work with the modern world. So really nice mix of things that I pursued at Notre Dame. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Catholic mission and the Notre Dame mission that really drives everything that we do here. So Notre Dame was founded with the intention of educating the whole person, the mind, body, and spirit. And in everything that we do today, we are informed by that mission that was initially brought together in 1842 by the Congregation of Holy Cross, which is a congregation of priests, sisters, and brothers who are intentional towards their education of young students to think of themselves as a force for good in the world. And today, we really continue to pursue that process in our academics and our research. You want to talk a little bit about research?
Yeah, something that really kind of is distinctive about Notre Dame is the blend of faith and science, wisdom and reason that is done here in a way that is really not matched elsewhere in the United States and around the world. Notre Dame is actually a member of what we call the American Association of Universities. This is a research consortium of top research institutions in the United States. There's 75 members of this organization. You need to spend at least $200 million on research on your campus, have some other facilities, certain kind of grants and research opportunities being done on our campus. But of those 75 institutions that are part of the AAU, Notre Dame is the only one that is faith-based. And so we can literally say that we do faith and science kind of like nowhere else in the country. And that, you know, the classroom experience and kind of your spiritual experience, whether it's a Catholic background or coming at it from another faith basis, those interact and inform one another in ways that are kind of unmatched in this country for sure. And I love that Notre Dame is such an undergraduate focused institution because undergraduates are able to take advantage of these research opportunities just as much, even if not more so than some of our graduate students on campus, because we have double the number of undergraduates than we do graduate students. And so all of our opportunities and even the layout of campus, like the structure of campus, is designed for the undergraduate experience and kind of keeping that at its core and going back to, you know, the mission of how Notre Dame was founded with its focus on that educating of the whole person. So that's something that really makes Notre Dame distinct, this idea of faith and science kind of working together. So we're also located in the lovely South Bend, Indiana. We also have a twin city of Mishawaka. There's a few other cities here. Within 20 miles of Notre Dame's campus, there's actually about 500,000 people right around here. So a lot of great opportunities for our students to engage in the local communities and kind of to take advantage of that. Elizabeth, do you want to share something that you really love about South Bend?
I would love to. So South Bend is my home. We really love South Bend, both in our office and all over campus. It's a great way for our students to interact with not just each other, but the greater South Bend, Michiana, Mishawaka community. So lots of students will have opportunities to go into South Bend and into the local community for a variety of experiences. Some students want to take an opportunity to explore the often underrated but fantastic food scene in South Bend. Love all the restaurants that you have offered. Personally, my favorite thing in South Bend to do during a Saturday is to go to the South Bend Farmers Market. So our students have plenty of opportunities to go to restaurants, the farmers market. We have a fantastic ice rink during the winter that you will see me at more weekends than not. So we love our South Bend community, and certainly Mishawaka is not underrated as well. Do you want to talk about Mishawaka?
Yeah, and Mishawaka, it's kind of our twin city. You really can't tell where South Bend starts and Mishawaka begins. It's something that is we're very fortunate to have. Mishawaka has a beautiful downtown park along the river as well. And it's also kind of the urban sprawl, right? Any sort of shopping or resources that you may want or need to go purchase while you're here at Notre Dame, you can find them in Mishawaka, and that's maybe a 10 or 15 minute drive from campus. So always encourage students, especially if you're coming to visit us on campus, we always are inviting people to come visit us, to get to know us, but also inviting you to tour South Bend and Mishawaka while you're here too, right? Don't just come to Notre Dame, check out South Bend, check out Mishawaka, and really get that experience. It's also not just amenities for students in there in our local area, but there's really opportunities for great discernment too, because Notre Dame, as a major institution in town, a major employer in town, is also kind of tied to almost everything that's going on in the Michiana area. And so, Elizabeth, do you just want to share a little bit about some of those opportunities students take advantage of in our local community?
Certainly. So one of the great things about Notre Dame students, they really connect with this mission of being a force for good. So about 80% of our students are involved in some form of service, and much of that service is in the local South Bend community. One, just off the top of my head, organization that students are involved in is the Robinson Community Learning Center, which is actually founded by Notre Dame. It is right off campus, just north of Eddy Street, which is just one of our many places for great food and shopping in the South Bend, Notre Dame combined community. But the Robinson Community Learning Center is really focused on educating local South Bend kids. So we offer opportunities like the Shakespeare Company, in which kids in grades 3 through 12 can read a little Shakespeare, get to work in a company, get to dress up, and really get to engage in fantastic literature. And many of our Notre Dame students are involved in programs like that and others at the Robinson Community Learning Center. But that's not the only one. Certainly there are plenty. Unity Gardens is another great one that our students will often go and volunteer at. It's a local, entirely free garden for any of the local community if they're looking for fresh produce. Many of our students will go and spend a weekend mulching or weeding. They get to connect with the South Bend community, which is really valuable, and they will bring that back to campus. And then the next time they go out, they'll bring more and more of their residence hall roommates and friends.
Yeah, for sure. So many great opportunities, a lot of student clubs on campus. There's even new clubs that are always starting up that are focused on getting students involved with the community, because so much of what we want students to be doing at Notre Dame is really discerning how can I be that force for good that we opened with in the mission. And that's something that's very important at Notre Dame as well. Transitioning a little bit here, we do have some very exciting news on the affordability front this year as well, because as of after this episode has been aired, we have some very exciting news. Do you want to share a little bit about what that is?
We will be going into no loan packaging. So whenever any of our students receive their financial aid offers, they will not be included with loans. Certainly if a student chooses to pursue loans, that is something we entirely encourage and understand, but what's key for us is we meet 100% of demonstrated need. So our focus will be making sure that we continue to pursue a financially affordable option for our students, whether that's offering scholarships, additional support, work study, and the like. In addition to that, we will be need blind for not just our domestic students, so our U.S. citizens, undocumented students, and dual U.S. citizens, but also all of our international student applicants we will be entirely need blind for, which is a very exciting thing. We are one of a very few population when it comes to need blind for all students.
Yes, it's very, very exciting, especially on the international side. All of our financial aid offers going out packaged without loans is going to be incredibly wonderful for our families. Certainly exciting news there, as well as being need blind for all students who are applying. Your family's financial circumstances are not going to be impacting your decisions, or the decision that we are making as review committees on applications this year, which is super, super exciting. Something else that's really exciting about the affordability piece for Notre Dame is that we actually rely mostly on a document called the CSS profile. The CSS profile is done by College Board, the same organization that does the SAT, and it is a very, very in-depth kind of financial aid application. It will ask things like, are there multiple children in college? It will take into account a family's cost of living in their area. It will take into account kind of what their current financial situation is in terms of, are they renting a home? Do they own a home? What other kind of pieces of the family's financial situation are all part of that. And that's really great because last year there was, we also do require students to submit the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. And certainly there were some challenges with that last year, and maybe a little bit of uncertainty still this year about how that's going to roll out. Hopefully all goes well, but the great news is because Notre Dame really relies on the CSS profile, we were actually able to release financial aid offers earlier than we had ever done before last year. And so not only are we trying to really get to know a family's financial situation, because of the CSS profile, it's something that we're able to do really, really well, and something that we're very, very confident in with what we're able to offer to families. So that's very, very exciting. There's a couple tools on our website, our financial aid website, just financialaid.nd.edu. There's a couple tools on the left side if you just scroll down under the heading Common Tasks. One is our My Intuition. My Intuition is 6 questions long. You may not even need your parents in the room to answer it, students. You can actually put that information in, and at the end of that, receive an estimate of what financial aid offers may look like for your family at Notre Dame with our need-based financial aid. There's also one called our Net Price Calculator tool. That one is very close to the CSS profile in terms of its depth. It will take a lot more time to go through. You will need your parents. They may even need some tax information. And at the end of the day, of course, we'll give you a narrower estimate, again, of what that will look like for you and your family, or could look like for you and your family at Notre Dame. Keep in mind, both of these are estimates. We also try to be a little bit conservative, so we can maybe under-promise and over-deliver a little bit. But it's great tools that are, again, available on our financial aid website, My Intuition and our Net Price Calculator tool. So really want to make sure that Notre Dame is this place where, not students aren't just, at, but that they're thriving at, and that there's not really any barriers to a Notre Dame education in that way. So, and speaking of thriving, there's always some fun that we have on campus for sure. We're going to challenge you in the classroom. We're an academically rigorous institution, of course, but we love to have our fun. And Notre Dame is actually really known for our traditions, and we're a very tradition-rich school. Elizabeth, do you have just some tradition that you love or anything you want to share?
Of course. Well, we've already talked a little bit about the tradition of service by talking about our relationship with the South Bend community, but certainly there are a lot of traditions that take place inside the halls and throughout campus. There are certainly many of our residence halls, all 32 of our residence halls on campus have their own signature events that happen throughout the year where they invite students to come and experience their traditions. One of my favorite is the Keenan Review. Keenan is a men's dorm on campus, and they offer a sketch show every year. It is entirely written by the men of Keenan Hall. It is hilarious. They will make fun of really everything they can possibly get their hands on, various dorms. It's really a fun way to engage with the Notre Dame community, get some inside jokes, and then people are telling those jokes for years to come afterwards. Certainly there are plenty of other traditions. Another one that I love is the Holy Half Marathon. During the spring, one of the first warm weekends when the snow has finally started to melt, and we'll have a half marathon, and the waiting list for that Holy Half is pretty extensive. Yeah. Our alumni, local people from the community, and our students are really vying for a spot to run around campus. It's often a beautiful day, and so much of the campus shows up to support them, making signs and cheering for everyone as they get to enjoy another healthy spring.
Yeah, absolutely. I love both of those traditions. They're so much fun. My own favorite tradition is actually kind of related to what we call our God Quad, which is essentially our main building, the Golden Dome, certainly that we are famous for. It has a 22-foot high golden statue of Mary, the Mother of Jesus, on it. Right next door is called the Basilica of Sacred Heart, active church right there in the heart of our campus, contributing to that Catholic character. And the area in front of both of those buildings is what we call God Quad. And there's kind of a tradition that you don't step on the grass on God Quad, or maybe you might struggle a little bit with your first theology course, as tradition holds, right? And certainly, students are respectful of that. You kind of make sure that you're always walking on the paths. But my favorite part of this tradition is actually it's when it doesn't affect, because on home football weekends, particularly Friday afternoons when the band does their march out, and then on Saturdays when the band is there, and also there's so many people on campus, moving around God Quad is pretty much impossible without stepping on the grass. And so, my favorite part of that tradition is, God's a fan of Notre Dame football too, so it's going to be okay on those days. So those are just some of our fun traditions here at Notre Dame, and a little bit of what makes Notre Dame distinct. We hope that kind of these areas that we've touched on, whether it's kind of the academics and the research piece, whether it's our beautiful local area, whether it's kind of the affordability initiatives that we're really, really excited about here at Notre Dame, or kind of that tradition-rich university. We're really hoping that you're able to take something from this video, that you have some more questions. We certainly invite you to reach out to us. You can find actually your local admissions counselor on our website. If you just Google find my counselor or meet my counselor Notre Dame, you can find our faces on the website. We all have our emails. We are happy to answer questions and be a resource for you, in this process as well. So if there's anything else that you can think of that you want to know about what makes Notre Dame this great distinct place in higher education, we're more than happy to be there. So thank you again for joining and watching the video, and of course, go Irish.